Okay, yeah, thank you, Justin, for bringing me online for our second session today, Backup Eagle and how it will help you with reliable support for audits and certifications. And yeah, as I said before, if you have questions during the session, please feel free to contact us in the chat or join us on our booth. My colleague Jasmina and I will be there, and we are happy to answer your questions and to maybe book an individual demo for Backup Eagle. So let's move on, jump right in about who we are and what we are doing. Then we're going to give you a little overview about what are the different legal requirements, certifications that we can cover with Backup Eagle, that Backup Eagle can help you with, how to manage the requires that these certifications bring with them, and then I'll give you a short live demo about our Backup Eagle system so you get an idea which functionality of Backup Eagle will solve which requirement here. So who we are the developers and the founders, so let's say the inventors of the software called Backup Eagle. And we are having more than 20 years of experience in the area of backup reporting and monitoring. We are located in Cologne, in Germany. All of our development team and our professional IT experts are located there. We have many customers and large experience in the area of government, financial sector, public healthcare. We have customers in every sector, because I say in every sector you better do backups and you better monitor them really well with Backup Eagle. So we have customers in every sector, every business, and all around the world. So we support them in the areas, of course, of audit and compliance and many more. But in this session, we're going to focus on how Backup Eagle will help you with legal requirements, audits, and certifications. So let's start with a first overview about how Backup Eagle will get its data and what it will show you, and how then how then this will reflect in fulfilling requirements and certifications and in the legal requirements. This is giving you a short overview on this. The first thing we're focusing on is, of course, backups and restores. And here the important thing to know is Backup Eagle is not a backup software. So we are not copying data from A to B. We are a layer above. We are grabbing all the data, the metadata about the backups, and we are making sure that you have a proof of everything, so that everything is running, that you have a documentation. But I go deeper on this later. And this is what gives you the ability to pass audits and to fulfill legal requirements very easy. The next thing we give you is we give you an overview about the permanent health check on your backup servers. And we'll also go over to, let's say, backup related devices like Isilon or data domain system, everything that's built out there to store backup data. And of course, the final spot we have is the cloud. Cloud is a very important thing. Many customers doing backups to the cloud or doing a replication to the cloud to have a backup outside of their environment. And we even here see cloud backup tools like Azure Backup or SAP Caps that we've seen before in this event. So what do we do with this data? We grab them out. This gives you a complete control about your environment. So you see this in a single pane of glass, everything that's related, your backups, restores, your servers, your devices, your cloud business that's going on in the area of backup. We'll bring this to you with complete reporting out of the box. So you are very quickly ready to go with Backup Eagle. Just set it up and you have it running within under an hour, and you can then fulfill legal and certification audit requirements very easily. We'll bring you this or we'll enable this by creating full evidence. So we create a documentation about what's happening, what backups are running, and we keep this information for a long time. For us, it's important to say backup tools are there for backup. They're doing their job very well, but they are not built to make it easy for you to pass audit and certifications. Because when a backup is expiring, let's say after 30 days, also the metadata is mostly gone. We are built in a different way. We'll keep this data as long as you require it to pass your audits, and that usually this is mostly at least 1 year or even longer. And yeah, let's move over. The full evidence is of course required to pass audit and compliance requirements. And we even have more there, automatic documentation of your configuration, for example. I will show you in this session. On the right side, you see we have a large variety of backup tools that we support here. All the major tools are in here. And as you can see, we have also SAP in here that's here on the session. Major backup players, Veeam, IBM, Dell, Commvault, we have them integrated. Cloud backups, Azure. What's not on the list here is SAP CAPS, but we can do this. And we have here also things like vCenter. vCenter, you might ask, okay, it's not a backup tool. Why is this on this sheet here? This is a thing that we need to ensure compliance and completeness in backup. We already added Hyper-V a few weeks ago here. It's not on this on the slide, but we have it added already. So we need things like we need to access data, backup metadata, we need to access environment data, and we need this to make it easy for you to pass audits, regulations, and legal requirements. So what we want to bring you, we make it easy for you to document everything that's going on in your backup environment, and that we make it really easy for you to follow the processes you set up and make it easy to prove that you follow these processes. Because how you can achieve compliance can be achieved by setting up really good processes, following these processes, and also create a documentation on that you follow these processes. And that is what Backup Eagle doing for you with very high rate of automation. So if everything works well, you will be able to pass audits on the backup area, backup and restore, data security part here, with no time at all. I have some voices from our customers regarding this on some slides later here. So here we have an overview about things like certifications ISO 27001, 9001, that can be covered with Backup Eagle, PCI compliance, of course, POPIA, FICA, and many more. If you do business with European banks, for example, then you might be also required to fulfill the DORA regulation. And we'll jump right into these things, what they are, these certifications, audit and regulations, and what they require you to do, specifically in the area of backup and backup environments, and of course what you can do here to pass the audits and certifications here easily. Okay, let's move in. POPIA, DPA, this is all about protecting personal information. You could also add GDPR here, and these acts all include some words that say, okay, you have to prevent, if you processing this data, you have to prevent that this data is lost, damaged, or unauthorized, destructed. Of course, hacker deleted your data. You have to make sure that you can restore the data. You have to protect the data that you are working with. DORA is more for the financial sector. The financial sector here should be made more resilient against IT threats. and we'll see soon what this requires here in case of backup and restore. And then we also see here FICA, Finance Intelligence Center Act. And the main goal that's very interesting here is to prevent money laundering. And then the first thing, of course, is to ask, okay, what does this has to do with IT and data security? This act goes very deep. It requires you to have efficient processes set up. How do you do this? By either enabling quality management or IT service management. So you have to make that you have data security measures with an IT security management in place, for example. So this then goes back to the things we had before, like ISO, which will help you to cover these requirements. And when we move on here, like ISO, this is of course a global standard, or SOC 2, SOC 2, for an information security management system, and all these systems have parts in them telling you, okay, you need to make sure that you have a backup concept. You have to check for anomalies. You have to check for errors and faulty backups and stuff like this. You have to set up processes and you have to follow them. When you do ISO 9001, that's a little weaker defined, but as quality management, this spans all areas in your company, not only the information technology. And then, of course, it comes back to the information technology. So if you are going to use ISO 9001, you will also have to deal with the same things regarding backup safety, data security that you would have with ISO 27001. And we see this often. This is used in combination here. We have very hard, very hard punishments here in the PCI sector. PCI payment card industry is a growing business, and as less and less physical money is used, more digital money is going around. And the payment card industry has a very intense regulation requiring you how to safeguard your data systems, how to ensure data availability. And if you do not follow these rules, then you will get kicked out of the payment card system. And that means you cannot longer do any business in there. So cannot provide financial transactions, and then you are effectively out of business. So it's a very hard regulation. The other legal and certification requirements, especially the legal requirements, are also have penalties if you do not follow them. Sometimes you just have to pay a fee if you don't follow them, but here with PCI you'll get kicked out of business if you don't follow this. So let's move on now to Backup Eagle, how Backup Eagle will help you requirements here that you will get when you have these certifications or these legal requirements. The first thing what we will do for you is we will improve your backup quality. How we will do this? We will look in all your backups. We will check them independently with a third-party view from our side. We will trace all the logs and we will bring up errors that you have not seen before. I've seen this in most of the deployments we are going into, and finding out issues that you're not seeing is one of the most important things to improve backup quality. Next thing is that we do for you, we ensure data retention. Data retention we ensure by two ways. We ensure that you have frequently backups, so you're not missing backups because they were deactivated or there are communication issues. And we also check the retention periods, the retention settings of your jobs. And with this, you can easily be alerted if, for example, the retention period of a job changes. You'll get a notification and you then can act or can say, okay, that's fine with me. This moves on to detecting backup anomalies. Backup anomalies is a thing that can cause you have backups running. They are running fine, but they are not backing up any data because the backup size is 0 bytes. This can be easily configured by creating excludes, for example, and no one will point you at this because the backup tool does what it is told to. It's running the backup, but it is excluding everything. You have a fine running backup. The backup tool is happy. The administrator is happy. Everything is green. Storage team is ready. Not much storage is consumed by a 0 byte backup. But when you do a restore, you have a little trouble because you have no data to restore. Backup Eagle will detect this for you, point you at this, and you will solve this. Next thing is that we, of course, can ensure that you have a backup of all your assets. In our very high dynamic IT world, we see virtual machines come and go or containers come and go. And we make sure to track all these changes, to detect new systems, and to ensure that they have a backup. When we see virtual machine, for example, without a backup in your environment, we'll point you at this and say, okay, please add this system to a backup. Or you can say, yeah, it's just fine. If it's, let's say, a test system, then you can ignore this. But we will make sure that you have a backup of all your assets, which is also a requirement in some regulations like DORA, for example. Next thing we'll bring to you, all of this, what we found, we put in compliance reporting, OOTB. OOTB means out of the box. So you just set up Backup Eagle, let it run, and then you have the compliance reports available. I'll show you some of them later, but they also cover processes and comments. That's the next thing we move over here, like ensuring continuous process documentation. This documents, of course, that you are doing backups. You can create comments on failed backups. You can prove what you have done for specific issues. And you can do this not only for one backup vendor, but we integrate multiple vendors like we've seen on the slides before. So we are a vendor independent solution. We can even integrate custom written backup scripts and solutions that you have in your environment with our APIs that we provide. So you're not bound on only the ready available backup tools on the market, but you can also integrate your own logic here. We create a backup documentation for you. That's also a requirement on many legal regulations and certifications. You have to do a frequently documentation about what you are doing your backup on, when it's done, how long the data is kept, where is it stored, and we do this for you daily, automatically. We detect also changes in this. And this will help you to support your quality management. So you can see every day when there is a change, you can say, is this intentionally or not? Do I have a problem here? Is this an attack or not? You will see this in our software. It will solve this for you. And all of this, when we go around here, we come to the point, all of this improves your data resilience because backup is your last line of defense. If everything else failed, intrusion detection, virus scans, everything, your data is encrypted, then you better have a functioning, consistent and full backup of all your systems so you can restore your servers and continue your business. If you don't have this, then you may go out of business. And Backup Eagle is a way that you can safeguard and harden your systems to be prepared for such an incident. Okay, let's move on. Some of our customer references, as you can see, we have many customers in the financial area. We have IT providers, we have education, healthcare. We have them all around the world here. And when we move on to some words we got from our customers, that's one thing I got some months ago. A customer told me before they were using Backup Eagle, they needed several days for audit preparation, and now he only needed 11 minutes. So I always wonder if he tracked this with a stopwatch or so. But this customer was very happy to reduce the time, and of course also the financial requirements, because if you have to allocate lots of time for these tasks, then it will cost you a lot of money that Backup Eagle will save you. Another customer we have is from the payment card industry, and they are heavily audited and heavily regulated. They have 20 plus per year, and with our tool, the manager told me that he only has to put over the report of the backups created with Backup Eagle, and all the auditors already know them and they are fine with them, and it's just a matter of minutes to pass this. And one customer is even faster. In the second year, the auditor called and asked, do you still use this Backup Eagle tool? And the customer was in his mind already preparing what kind of report the auditor might want to have, but the auditor just said, okay, if you're still using Backup Eagle, then it's fine. And I put a check on backup and everything is gone. And the audit was completed within minutes. Of course, we cannot guarantee this will happen here in your environment, but we can guarantee this you save a lot of time with Backup Eagle. And it will be easy to pass audits and certifications. And another customer that's also audited, but here with another focus on saving time. It's a very large environment with about 300,000 backups per day, globally distributed environment. Had 1% failed backups before, which is not that bad, but it's in a large scale environment still 3,000. And we reduced this to only 1,000 because we also, besides our recognition of failures, we can also identify false positives. So if a backup is reported as failed, but it's not a critical error, like a temporary file or so, Backup Eagle can do also the other way around and tell you, okay, that's not critical. And this also is important because if you can prove that a backup has an error, but it's not critical, it's even more easier for you to pass audits and certifications. So now let's move on to a live demo. And in this live demo, I'm going to show you on the Backup Eagle system itself, on a live system, what features do we have to improve the backup quality, to ensure the data retention, to detect backup anomalies, to ensure that you have backup of all assets, what compliance reporting looks, and what process documentation looks within Backup Eagle. So I'm going to switch my screen now. Hope this will work here. Okay, now I've switched over to one of my Backup Eagle demo systems. This is here, it's a small Windows virtual machine. You can also have it running on Linux. The important thing for us and for many of our customers is that this runs in your environment. So it's not a cloud-based software. And if you have to fulfill regulations that are focusing on data and where the data is, this is a very, very big plus here, because then you can say, okay, this is no data. I don't need any contracts with any provider. The data is stored in my environment, and you don't have any talks or any issues that you have to solve regarding monitoring your backup data. It's all yours. It's all in your environment. So you have the full control about this. So the first thing that we give you is we'll give you an overview so you can find issues fast. So we see here, of course, client operations. This means backups, restores in a very simple traffic light. coloring, green, everything is good, you're ready to go. Red is, oh, stop and check it, please. There's an error. Yellow is, there's a backup missing. Please look if this is okay, or if you have a gap here that needs to be closed so you can do a restore if it's required. Here's a quick impression that we also have historical data. Historical data is, of course, important to pass audits, but can solve many other things like seeing how your backup storage usage grows. But that's of course, if you are focused on audit and requirement, it's a nice side effect what you will also get with Backup Eagle. We'll check your server health. One of the requirements is always make sure that you have an effective monitoring on your environments, and we'll have server health check enabled permanently. Please forgive me that this backup, this health rate is so bad. I only have 5 successful completing backup servers, 17 with issues. I will not solve these issues because I always say I have to prove Backup Eagle can detect issues, and if everything would be green here, you may not believe me that Backup Eagle could detect errors. So here you can see we can do. We do this also for devices. So if you have stuff in your environment like tape libraries or data domain systems or disk-based backup storage systems, Isilon, for example, we will monitor them. We will also give you this overview that everything is working fine there. And you will not be surprised when the storage is full, because you will alert it in time before by Backup Eagle, so you can take countermeasures to prevent that your backup maybe fail by adding new storage space or by reducing the backup size, for example. So then completeness we can ensure, of course, also with our hosted tech component, and that's a thing I will step into now. I'll step into this hosted tech component. Is one important part of our software to ensure completeness of the backup process or of the backups, that you have all your assets backed. And as you can see, this is very simple in the view. We have a table which has a status column, a host, and IP, and every line here shows one either of your virtual or physical systems that we detected in your environment. To detect these systems, we scanned your environment. We can use various sources. We could connect, then we come to the first slide, we could connect to a virtual center, for example, and read all the virtual machines there. We can also do this for Hyper-V. We could scan your network by doing a sequence of pings. We can connect to your name server. We can connect to your Active Directory. We can even load a simple text file if you like. And we then compare this information we find there with the data, with the metadata we pull out of your backup tools. And in there we see, for example, we have this system here. This system, it's a Linux system here in our naming convention, and we see the last backup was on the 24th. So okay, for us now it's up to date, and it's all green here. So when we look down deeper, we see this system here. It's marked not okay. I can also put my filters on the failed systems here. And I see these systems were all detected in my environment, but they have no backup. So this is a thing you have to take action, because when you don't do this, you will get in trouble when you have to prove that all your systems are in backup, and that will be, from our experience, one questions that you will have in the legal or certification audit here. So we see this here. Of course, if you have test systems, you can exclude them here. You can also work with vCenter tags to build excludes or includes here. We can alert this automatically to your ticketing tool, or we can also create a message in your security event and management system here. So we can grab the data from backup tools from your infrastructure, but we can reconnect and report the issues you found, not only in the user interface and not only in reports. We can also push them to your ticketing systems or to other systems with a REST API available. So this is a point here of completeness. So let's now move on to improving backup quality. Backup quality is a very important part because when it comes to audit and certifications, one of the things is always, can you show me what is the backup status now? Can you show me what was the backup status, let's say 3 months ago, or even 6 months ago? And then it comes to the point where you start searching log files or reports that you may have or may not have that you have to combine, which produces lots of work, which will cause, unnecessary talks when you don't have this data. Here in Backup Eagle, it's just a matter of clicking here on the time selection, and you'll have the data at your fingertips. So by default, we'll store this data for half a year. Most of our customers with legal and audit compliance requirements set us up to a year or two. That's just a matter of adding some space to the database that Backup Eagle stores this data in. So you are safeguarded, that you can prove you have a backup, you can prove that you have checked it, because that's the next step when we go into a backup like this here and you see, show me the errors here. This is okay, that's a German message. In English it's known as a a timeout occurred here. And then you can say, okay, I can not only prove to my auditors that I can see all these issues, I can also act on them, because we can integrate with your process. You can say, okay, I would like to check this now, and put in a comment here. You can even pick out pre-written comments and say, okay, I contacted the network issue team. This issue was solved. And then I can even put it to an acknowledged state in here. And this will be represented in the software. I can go back in here. I can see the comments here. I did the same presentation yesterday. So yesterday I also contacted the networker team to solve this issue. And with this, you not only have a documentation and a proof about that you have the visibility, but you also have the proof what you did on failures. You can also have this on the server health, for example. And this is very, from my experience, this is very impressive for auditing and certification stuff. So they can see that you're really caring here about your backups. And this is what makes you easily pass this audit. But we started not just to make auditing passing safe. We started with the idea of strengthening your data resilience. And of course, if you solve the issues you see here, if you create completeness of your backups, then you have a total different standing when it comes to restoring data. I see I've just have a minute left, so I can also show you we detect when backups are missing. Here, this backup is missing for 7 days now. This will be alerted, so we are not find just out backups that are not configured. We also see backups that are no longer running. And we also see the configuration of all your backup systems. You can see here it's created daily, and you can see for every backup here, for every backup server in here, how the settings are, when the backup is done, where it is done to, how long the data is kept. And when we scroll down here, we see this backup is scheduled to run every day usually at 10, but it's running at 4:12 for whatever reasons. And this is making a great add-on for your backup documentation, and it's created daily here. Time is going to end now. I hope you've seen many interesting things. We are happy to welcome you on our booth to show you more, to give you more an impression how Backup Eagle will help you for regulations and certifications and compliance tasks, feel free to contact us, of course. And I say thank you to all attendees. Thank you to the NETCB staff, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.